Alright folks, from the Bowlium in Montclair here for the title matches of today's JBT event. Both divisions at once again in the ultra high scoring scratch division. The two premier lefties on tour. Wesley Lowe in the middle of an unbelievable run, taking on Jakob Butturff, who's in the middle of an unbelievable season. So the old rock and a hard place title match. These guys have both struck for days, but nobody more than Wesley today, as he tied the all-time 8-game scoring record at plus 503 today with a low game of 215, so some of the other games were even higher than that. So excellent job out of Wesley so far, but we're in endless 10th frame against a guy who can strike endlessly in Butturff, so this could get really interesting down the line. Really tough conditions yesterday, really scoreable today, and all 5 finalists tore him up, but Jakob got by Cortez Schenk in a battle of the 1 versus 2 in our all-conference points to get here, setting up this entertaining title match as they're already through 5 frames. Wesley has gone double spare double. Jakob has gone Dutch through 4 frames. So can tie up the match if he can strike here in the 5th and 6th. Oh, instead it's a half 7, but remember, no lead is guaranteed in endless 10th. Jakob shot 299 in endless 10th frame last week in Vegas and had to sit there and sweat as Eric Hatchett needed 7 in a row to beat him and looked like he had a crack at getting there. Jakob with that unique release, he will kill the ball completely and go dead hard and straight at the 7 pin. It's good technique and it's a fine spare. Earlier in the step ladder, Butturff won all 3 matches to get here, beating Luke Hawley in round 1, Justin Sims in round 2, and then, like we said, Cortez in the semifinal. Simultaneously, we have Nick Condon going for the title over in the handicap division. That was him getting that Brooklyn strike in his 2nd frame, taking on Jakob Hilton. Both those bowlers have 1 career title, so someone's going to win their 2nd. Meanwhile, over in scratch, Jakob gets yet another terrific break. He is going for title number 21, while Wesley is going for his 13th, which is impressive, but more impressive, he's going for his 4th consecutive title, which would tie that all-time record. Andrew Kane, BJ Baker, Josh Blanchard, off the top of my head. Sorry if I got it wrong. Have 4 consecutive wins each. Wesley won back-to-back in Palm Springs and Canyon, and 1 here yesterday. And a ringing 7 keeps the match close. Both these bowlers, if you kind of just wandered in and saw them, you'd think that they're two-handed bowlers. Neither one is. Jakob has a uniquely flexible wrist that he's able to essentially get a thumbless type delivery off of, where Wesley just has the majority of that thumb in this ball but curls the entire ball back on his forearm to sort of emulate a no-thumb delivery. So doesn't matter how you do it, it just matters you knock the pins over, and these guys are unbelievable at doing it. Nice job at the spare. Maintains a 18-pin lead through 6 frames with that conversion. The difference in handicap is 11. Nick has to win by 11 to tie and 12 to win. Nick from here in SoCal. Wesley up the coast a bit in Palmdale. Jakob from the Phoenix area, and Jakob Hilton from the Phoenix area, Jakob Butturff from Vegas. And we've watched him do that since frame 1 today. I suppose, yes. Color commentator Anthony Dang corrects me that Butturff is technically a Phoenician now as well. See that ball just carried on the wrist. Well, look out. Wow. Last week he got a unbelievable break, tripping out the 4-7 from the Red Rock title match. Here it's back-to-back breaks as he gets the 4-pin to tilt over last frame. And this time he gets the Brooklyn hit to carry, and Condon meanwhile gets anything but a break with a solid 8 over there. It's a game of breaks sometimes when I was going to say when the pocket's easy to hit, it becomes a bit of a carry contest, but Jakob hasn't hit the pocket the last 2 frames, and he still has the double and can take a 1-pin lead with a much better shot here. Oh, and he trips out the 6. Gets a 4 to collapse, gets a Brooklyn, and then sucks out the 6th pin in that one. What a huge triple. We talked about it last week. When you're throwing the ball as well as Jakob obviously is, it seems like the good breaks just come hand in hand with it. Got a good one here in scratch as we expected to. Yesterday the scratch cut was minus 55. Today the scratch cut was plus 61. So essentially 20 some odd pins higher per game. Oh wow, and back to back ringing 7 pins for Wesley on that one. Wesley opened with 255 today and followed it with all these scores starting with 235, 68, 58, 46, 68, 15, and another 68. He needed to double in the 10th to break the all-time record. Instead he went strike 9 spare. Needs to spare this up here to not let Butturff get too far in the lead. And sometimes it's tough, one of these guys that go 400 and 500 up, because they don't shoot many spares all day long. They probably forget how to do it. But Wesley switches to plastic, also good form, hard and straight. Condon, meanwhile, spared up that 8 pin, but now he's got a 5-10, which he's going to give a run out but miss. Jakob working on 3 in a row. But plenty of time there. They're only through 4 and 5 frames. Here in scratch, we're in the 9th. This is a huge shot. Crunches that rack. Remember, it's endless 10th. So if either one strikes on their fill ball, whether it's spare strike or all 3 in the 10th, they get to continue striking as long as they're able to do so. Butturff bowling very fast throughout this whole stepladder. Yes, -4 bagger for him. Last game was a bit of a statement game against Tez. They're 1-2 in points in all conference by a mile, and they're having sort of a mini tournament within a tournament on a season-long basis. Nothing Jakob can do seals victory, but you want to get as many strikes as he can. Right now, as it stands on the scoreboard, Jakob at a 229 pace, Wesley can strike out for 238, so it's anybody's match still, regardless of the endless 10th. And again trips the 6 out. Wow! Trip 6 in the 8th, a later trip 6 on the first ball in the 10th. What kind of voodoo, kind of lefty magic are we watching here? Good heavens. As he did last week in Vegas, he has to capitalize on this break with another strike here in the 11th. And he does again. What a champion. Oh, and Condon gets the break. What is... I need to see the mechanic right now, because who's got the rake back there tripping out the pins? Tell me. The Bowlium ghost is just tripping out everything right now. Very nice mustache on the guy as well. It's St. Patrick's Day, if you haven't noticed all the green around. Now Butturff has to strike to trigger the endless 10th. And he does this time. He didn't last week because all he did was shoot 299. This time he finishes with the last 7 for an even 250. The best Wesley can do is 238. Even if he doesn't strike on this ball, he must strike on whatever his last ball is to stay alive. If he does strike out, that's 238. And he would need only 2 shots to catch up into the lead. If he doesn't strike on this ball, he must go spare strike or Jakob wins the tournament. And again, over there in handicap, Condon has to win by 11. If he spares up this 3-pin, he will be trailing by 30 overall when he had him in the handicap. So that strike requires Wesley to get the next 2. If he doesn't strike on this ball, he'll be in the 220s and won't have endless 10th, and Jakob wins title number 21, which incidentally would put him only 1 behind Andrew Kane as he's rapidly climbing up the all-time title winner list. It would also put him 1 title, I believe, away from the all-time single-season title record, and we're in early March, mid-March. So he's all but guaranteed to shatter that record. Wesley, after dominating a tournament as much as you can possibly dominate, has to strike on this ball to stay alive. Oh, it's right. And he gets the break! This is unbelievable, folks. If they hit the pocket, they crunch it. If they miss the pocket, they all fall down anyway. The only thing Wesley is left in the second half of this game was 2 ringing 7s. I wouldn't bother hitting the pocket either. If that didn't fall, the match is over. It did. He has to strike to stay alive. He would go first in the endless 10th. for 2 shots until he catches up. Then they would essentially alternate frames until we'd have a winner because they'd both be on endless 10. It's all triggered by this shot right here. It's there. He has it! Okay, oh no, and the mic's off. The mic's off, so folks, here's the situation. Both bowlers have done it. The scores you see on the screens, they both struck on the fill ball, so they both have endless 10th frames. How it works is Wes has the opportunity to catch up first. Since they both have endless 10th frames out there, it would essentially be alternating shot from that point. So Wes, you finished on the right lane, you're now up on the left lane. You'll go left lane and right lane, must strike on the next 2 balls to pass Jacob, and Jacob would then be up on his opposite lane. That's how it works, folks. I'll have the scoreboard back here and talking. So Wesley up first has to strike on this ball in the left lane. He'll move over to the right lane where he'd have to strike again. Dead nuts. That's 248. Right lane, Wesley. So there was the finishing scores on the left. Wesley struck there to get to 248. Must strike on this ball to stay alive, and then Jacob would be up. Jacob finished on the right, correct? No, he finished on the left. Meanwhile, they're getting late in the handicap title match too, as Condon got a key double in the 8th and 9th frame, and Hilton responds with the strike of his own. Could come down to the 10th frame in the handicap division as well. Wesley has to strike to stay alive. And with a solid 8-pin after all that, in a breathless title match, Jakob Butturff is your tournament champion. What a match. 250 to 248 when you factor in the other endless 10th frame. Wesley just shrugs at the pins. What can he do? He nailed every shot. He doesn't get the 4th in a row. He sets the all-time record and doesn't get the title, and pile on another one in the magical season for Jakob Butturff, 21. Anthony, would you be a huge favor and ask them to turn my microphone on? Hilton opens in the 10th, meanwhile, he finishes at 182. Nick has to win by 11. As it stands, 9 spare strike is 195, which would win by 13, so we can't drop a lot of count no matter what on this shot. And look out, it's going left. Oh boy. If I've added right, 8 spare strike is 194, correct? That's correct. He's giving 11. So, guess what, kids? He needs spare strike to win. If he goes spare 9, we'll have our second tie in the handicap stepladder, and they'll go to a 2-frame roll-off to determine the title. What a fascinating stepladder here in Montclair. Must spare the tricky 3-9 first of all. Oh no! Misses the spare on the 10th. That's not enough. It's a 1-pin win on the scoreboard, but he was giving a tie on the scoreboard. He's giving the pins. Jacob Hilton's your 2-time JBT champion. What amazing finishes in both divisions. Man, we'll hand out the awards to 4 talented finalists, and we'll do it all over again next week. If you want this excitement, folks, get your butt out to JBT event.